Okay.
Hello.
Yeah. I'm in. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, how are you?
Good, good. Thanks for
Good.
joining.
Sure.
Are you Brett?
I am. It's my wife's on her
Yeah,
account.
that is A-okay. Just want to make sure we're both in the right place. Thanks for joining. So for the next 45 to 50 minutes,
Sure.
I'm going to be chatting with you about a really fun topic,
Sure.
collectibles. Particularly, I think you are a comic book and a watch collector. Is that right?
Yeah, yes, a little bit of everything, actually. A little bit of old memorabilia, autographs, sports, entertainment, watches, jewelry, memorabilia, you name it, art.
Okay, fantastic. All right. Well, before we get started, just want to take care of a little bit of housekeeping items.
Sure.
So my name is Jessica. I work for a third-party market research firm. So I don't work for the company that's conducting this research. So please be as open and honest with any question.
Sure.
I really just want to know your honest opinion. You won't hurt my feelings.
Sure.
Yeah. And before we dive in, today's call will also be recorded just for note-taking purposes. So just so that I don't have to feverishly scribble down all the good things you say.
Sure.
Okay, so we can go ahead and get started if you're ready.
Sure.
So for today's discussion, I want to focus more on watches and comic books,
Sure.
as we talk through collectibles. So I want to know, can you tell me about a recent watch or comic book that you purchased or sold, and tell me about your process in doing that?
Sure. So I have a friend. I have different friends that run auctions that have different stores, jewelry stores, pawn shops, etc. And I'm kind of like a consultant. They'll call me when they need information on certain things, like autographs or comic books or baseball cards or things of that nature. And as far as jewelry, like I said, I have a friend that has one of these stores, and he's a so-called expert on watches and whatnot. And during the pandemic, I was able to watch a lot of YouTube shows with these fancy jewelry stores with all the wrappers that they go to, Beverly Hills, Peter Marco Jewelers, and Icebox in Atlanta. And it's very interesting how, these rappers and ball players, they come in and they come in with satchels full of money, and they drop it down, and they're buying these big gold diamond chains and watches and whatnot. So I find that very fascinating. It's a fascinating business. And as far as Rolexes and watches in general, during a lot of collectibles in general, during the pandemic, things have just skyrocketed in value. There's Rolexes for 5,000. There's Rolexes for 5 million. It's like a car. It's just depends how fancy and how limited you want to go. So as far as watches, it was probably a Sky Dweller Rolex, gold Rolex, used. The $30,000 we paid for it, and the watch is probably worth close to 60. It's just and it's jumping and jumping. It's a gold presidential band that has some diamonds in it, factory diamonds. Came with the box of papers and whatnot, and it was something that I thought it was be good to take in to make an investment in.
Okay.
Comic books is another. I started collecting when I was a kid. Baseball cards, sports cards, comic books, and I had some early Superman and Action Comics and Batman comic books as a kid that I got with my dad. And I really don't care too much for the newer stuff because it's like sports cards. When I was growing up, there was three or four brands of trading cards. You had Topps, Donruss, Fleer, Score, and now there's so many different brands because the market's just exploded. So I've
Mm-hmm.
kind of shied away from the card market. I know a lot about the older stuff, but not so much of the newer stuff. And the same with comic books. I like to buy and sell and trade a lot of vintage stuff. And I say vintage, I mean from the 1930s up till it's in the 1970s.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you so much.
Sure.
So it sounds like you've been trading comic or interested in comic books, trading comic books for a really long time.
Yeah.
About how long have you participated in the watch collectibles market?
Well, the watch, well, when I was, I always, my uncle, my mother and my uncle were always into jewelry. They liked, Cartier watches and things like that. And my father was not. He was not, he was very plain. He used to wear a ring that he got, his bar mitzvah when he was a kid in a wedding band. And I remember he always wore a chain, but he was never really into jewelry. My mother used to love jewelry. So I remember as a kid, we used to go to auctions all the time. I used to go to, my main interest as a kid was baseball cards, collecting, buying, trading,
Mm-hmm.
and going to these shows on weekends with my dad and my parents throughout New York and throughout Philadelphia, because my dad was from Philly, so we'd be, back and forth. And uh, so we used to go to another auction house that was in Long Island when I was, I don't know, 12, 13, 14, 15. There was an auction gallery called Berman Galleries, and he sold
Mm-hmm.
everything. It was like a Saturday night auction. You get there 4 o'clock, you could look at all the stuff,
Mm-hmm.
preview it, and the stuff would go up for auction. He was an auctioneer, and everything was everything from art to statues to, and just